Chase Lee Hockey here with the Blue Futon. It's been a while since I reviewed a Korean movie, but I was going through Voodoo, and there's one called Hansan Rising Dragon, Korea, Japan, 1992, minus 400 years, so 1592. I'm stupid. So Hansan Rising Dragon, what's it about? Very simple premise, actually. Like I said in the intro, it ain't 1992, it's 1592. Japan, Korea, naval sea battles, who's going to win with these badass ships, and the strategy of going through straits, currents, wind, who has the audacity to do the unthinkable. So, did I like this film? I thought it was an okay ship film. I think there's a better one out there called The Admiral. I own it somewhere up here, but it's another Korean film about Navy sea battle back in the day. But this one is still a very enjoyable experience with some good CGI and some bad CGI and some good story and some confusing story. So with that, let's give you the positives of some of the film first. I think the historical story of it is extremely fascinating. I thought it was fun to watch who's a spy, who's not a spy, these boats, whose boats are whose, what strategy do they have, what team ups, steel, dragons, cannons. It's so cool because I actually just went to a museum, the Noah's Ark Museum in Kentucky. It's actually pretty fascinating because even there they talk about how there were so many different boats back then, like a box, or a box, a square, a rectangle, a circle, weird shapes to try to like navigate the sea, and it would be a lot of failures. And this actually had different ships, and I thought that was so cool because you're all used to the pirate ships and like the Noah Ark ships, of all the ships kind of looking the same, kind of like a canoe pattern, except this one had different patterns to it. I think that puts a historical aspect of like, you know what, ships like this were existing back in the day because people thought it was better for security, better for storage, better for protection of the ship for the people inside. And my goodness, if I was a slave back in the day, had to do the rowing, I would barely survive because, my God, that seems so miserable. So, yes, even in the 1500s, everyone was slave to every part of the world. Pretty sure Asians were slaves, whites were slaves, Egyptians were slaves, Africans were slaves, even though they're still slave today in Africa. Europeans were slaves, Russians were slaves, everyone, South Americans were slaves. I mean, everyone was a slave back in the day, and it's absolute travesty. But what can I say? That's 600, 500 years ago. There's nothing I could have done. Like, I'm sorry. I wasn't born yet. But then, like I said, the story, some of the CGI was really good. And then some of the acting, I say actually all of the acting was pretty good with everyone on screen with like, okay, I understand what's going on here. But let's continue on with the negative. Sometimes the story is very convoluted of like way too much going on. You have this tribe, this, region of China. Sorry, Japan. Well, it does talk about China in the story, but like, talk about China moving down, but like this region of Korea, that region of Korea, this strait, Japan. And it was very confusing for like, okay, wait, time out. So we have that person, that team with that person. We have that spy with that person. This person's with this person. Then we have the people on the land, some spies there. And so sometimes it is like, okay, I'm kind of lost, and it is what it is because doing research on this is probably very loosely told of what is true and what's not. So even though I was lost, I was like, I'm just have to give up. I'm going to give up on some of the story. And some of the CGI wasn't the greatest. It started off strong with this dragon head going into the ship and like, cannon fire. Like, oh shit, that's so badass, so cool. But then when it goes out, like it pans out to the like seeing all the ships, you're just like, ooh, Pirates of the Caribbean back in 2001, 2004, 2007 did this a lot better. And this is so baffling of like, what CGI, what company's behind it, because you have Disney behind that, and Gore Verbinski did a lot of practical effects, and it's so cool watching that. This one, they focus a little bit too much on the CGI for the sea combat, which is all right and all, but I think there should be a point where it's like, okay, let's try to go on the water and try to do as much as we can, kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean, because with Pirates of the Caribbean, seeing all that awesomeness, you're like, yeah, I could see that happening because I see the real water. I see the real sand. I see the real palm trees. Here, you just kind of have to put it down in disbelief. But everything on the land was very cool and very fun to watch. So overall, Hansan Rising Dragon, it was a quick 2 hours and 10 minutes because there's a nonstop battle sequences of this film. It was fun to watch. It was great acting. And even though you could tell it was a very much a CGI fest, and some of the story was just very convoluted of like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm just have to go with it and assume that's the bad guy and that's the good guy. So Hansan Rising Dragon will receive a 3 out of 5 Futons, which equals at 60%. So do the critics' news scores gave this one. So you have critics a 63% with 8 of them. Audience score a 91% with plus 50. No critic consensus. Man, am I that much of a prude for this one? For giving it a 60? And all the other people say 91%? Ooh, oh no. Anyway, 63, 60, 91. Chase Talk with the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think is Futontopia. You Blue Futonians. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. I was putting in a burp. My goodness. I feel like maybe I have acid reflux. I don't want that. Does it mean I'm getting older? No. Anyway, could you survive in 1592? Because Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492. So, Columbus was dead at that point.